Hey Data, let's do this. Ready? Take it away.
I don't sing as well as Jelly does.
All right.
I think I get her to sing the new
Yeah,
song.
we'll have an entire chorus.
Okay.
Adafruit choir.
Okay. Why is the code peristaltic?
Well, it's because of this.
It's a peristaltic pump. We've actually had a peristaltic pump in the store, but this one is pretty sweet. Why? Because it's a 5 or 6 volt peristaltic pump, and the one we had in the store is 12. And what that means is that you can use this one with a cricket. So here you can see an example of it moving liquid from one glass to the other. It's a little bit sped up, but it is actually a pretty fast pump. And I have the same demo here, and I could show it off on the overhead. So let me turn this on. And then you can see liquid coming out of here and going into there. And then it can also, of course, remove liquid by making the pump, putting the motor on a motor port. And then on your H-bridge, you go forwards or backwards. You can move fluid in or out, depending on which direction you set it to be. So it's good for all sorts of liquid movements. It's pretty fast, and what's really nice is you don't need to prime it. So it can sit separately outside of the liquids that you're using.
Okay. All right, next up, a lens.
A lens. We had the glass lens in the store, and this is a plastic version. You can see we have a little demo of it here with the Raspberry Pi eyeball code. So it kind of makes the eyeballs pop really nicely. We have the glass one, and the glass one is heavier. It's going to be a little bit higher quality, but if you don't need an expensiver glass lens, maybe you want something lighter, maybe just want something plastic and less expensive, we now have the plastic lens as well. Okay, next up, we've got these little doohickeys. These doohickeys are demo going. These are infrared transmitter receiver pairs. They're often used in line following robots, but they're just great because they're really breadboard friendly and they're small. And you can basically set up so the IR light comes out of one end and then you can detect it from the other end. Honestly, this demo kind of shows you, and I can also show it on the overhead if we want to see it. Get this going here. But yeah, you have, this is an infrared transmitter and a receiver. You can barely see it's on, and when you cover it, it detects it. You can also use it for basic distance sensing, but what it's really good for is detecting when something is in the way, or like counting ticks or movements and stuff. That's what this sensor is really good for. And yeah, this one's breadboard friendly, and they're so inexpensive, we just put them in a pack of 5. Okay. Next up, we have the other version, the non-touch version of the Pimoroni HyperPixel hat. So we had the version with capacitive touch, and if you don't need capacitive touch, we now have a version that is non-capacitive, and it's a little bit less expensive. It doesn't have that glass overlay, and like you can't touch it. It'll just not do anything if you touch it, but it looks great. Here is an example of it. I can even unplug it and I can show it being booted up. It's a nice IPS screen, 4-inch diagonal. It's a little bit bigger than the Raspberry Pi. Just give it a second. We'll boot up here. And what's nice is that it uses the DPI output, so it shows even the booting process, and it'll show 800 by 480 pixels, I think. It looks great. And then for this version, you would just attach a keyboard and mouse, and you could have it be a little laptop or something. So really great screen. Only thing to watch out for is it does use all of the pins pretty much. Nearly every pin is used by the DPI interface. It's a trade-off. It's like 60 frames per second. It's really fast update. It's like 24-bit, but you lose a lot of pins because it's using all those GPIO pins to just drive the display. That said, if you don't really care about all those GPIO pins, maybe you can use USB for your interface, or maybe you just don't need that many pins. This is great. There is a little I2C port that you can connect to if you want to use I2C for some sensors.
Okay. Next up.
This quick the 861 DW. This is a very well-loved hot air station, and we have a simple hot air station in the shop that's about $100. This one is much nicer. It's got digital control. It has 3 profiles, so you can use the CH1 through 3. You can save profiles. So if you have like a lead-free profile, or you want one that's good for a 4-layer board, you can save those and then bring them back. Maybe you have one profile for like a heat shrink, and one for getting big chips off, and one for getting small chips off. Anyways, you can set it up completely digitally. It's a beast. It heats up really fast though. So if you're doing a lot of rework or repair work, this is well known among the repair community for being an excellent quality hot air station. You can pick one up. The one we have is 120 volt US only. And if you do want to use it in another country, you would have to use a transformer. It really is like 120 volts. Not one of those like, oh, you can use either. I think the motor and pump really are tuned to that frequency and voltage.
All right. Next
There
up.
you go. We got some stickers. So these are these really adorable Halloween stickers that our graphic designer worked on. And it's all of the Adafruit characters in costumes to celebrate Halloween. We're trying to do a lot of good Halloween stuff this year. So you got Blinka all dressed up, and Minerva and Adabot, and we even got the crickets dressed up as other animals. And Adabot is both Batman and I think a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. And so you have each set of stickers, and you can pick up each one that you like. And then as well, we also have these Halloween cards that come with them. So these stickers are vinyl, and so what that means is that when you stick them on these cards, you can peel them off. And maybe I'll even show that, because this is pretty cool. You can make little Halloween cards or plates. So here you've got the Adafruit nightlight, and so this calls for Ada Batman. I don't know. You can have him hanging out here, and then maybe fighting the evil cricket cowboy. I don't know. And then if you want, you can carefully but surely peel off the stickers.
We have these so you can move them around, peel them off. You can also use this like a background as a set. Lots of uses for these. Beautifully designed by our designer Bruce. Cards and stickers.
Cards and stickers. So you get all these vinyl stickers. We have multiple sets. Pick up whichever ones that you strike your fancy. And then the cards, we have like a Halloween. We have like a pumpkin patch, spider webs, evil or good castle. I don't know. Nice little trees. And of course, the graveyard, or the undead electronics. So maybe this would be a good one for Sparky, where like all your undead chips are living. It's like, oh my goodness, there's that 555 I killed. Oh no, it's coming back. So spooky Halloween stickers and cards for decorations. Make something cool this Halloween. Celebrate electronics.
Next up, to start the show tonight, besides you and our community, Lady Ada, are these two things.
We got 2 products from Fab this week. So the first one is the Venmil 6075. We've always been on a quest for a good UV sensor. Every time we have a UV sensor, it's better than the last one, but they get better and better. So this one is the first sensor that has both UVA and UVB as separate photodiodes, so it can detect both bands, UVA and UVB. One is like I think 630, and one is like 660 nanometers. I don't remember exactly, but it does both bands, and then it comes with some calibration math that you can use to calculate the UV index as close as possible. The true UV index is quite hard to calculate without like a spectroscopy machine, but you can do quite a good job with this sensor, and it gives you the numbers to take the UVA and UVB data, and it will get you something pretty close. And it is true UV sensing, unlike some sensors that don't actually have a UV sensing element. This one does. So the Venmil 6075 is I2C. It's easy to use. We have CircuitPython, Python, and Arduino code for it. You can get that UVA and UVB data, but you probably just want to use it to pop out the UV index as a number and use that to do like weather sensing or wearable sensing, or if it's time for somebody to put on sunscreen. We also have another sensor, the MPRLS pressure sensor. Now we've carried a bunch of pressure sensors like the BMP 280 and MPL 1131 or whatever. But this one is really interesting. This one is the first pressure sensor we have with a port, and it's digital. A lot of ported pressure sensors aren't digital. They're just like resistive or capacitive, and you have to do a lot of weird sensing to get the data out. This one is I2C data out. It has a 24-bit ADC built into it. There's a port. Inside the port is like a silicone gel, so it protects it. It's great for, I think, like sip and puff sensors or any kind of breath sensors. You can, of course, use it as an ambient sensor, but you can, because of that port, you can easily connect it to a tank or container where you want to measure vacuum, because it goes down to 0 psi up to 25 psi. So it's got quite a range, and I've got a little demo I can show to demonstrate this. So this time I've got the MPRLS hooked up to my Metro, and then I've got some NeoPixels, and I just have it mapping from 0 to 25. It's from like 20 to it's from 10 to 16 psi or something. So I can take this tubing. You just get some tubing, and you can see, you can plug that in, and if I blow, I can make the pressure go up. It's actually quite hard to get more than like a PSI or 2, but maybe you can use this as a lung pressure.
This could be a game.
This is a game. I'm already getting dizzy. It's a good time. Or it's actually a better, for suction, you can actually, you can do a better job.
Pretty neat.
Yeah. So it can detect when you're sipping or puffing. So this is good for those kinds of interfaces, although I think it would be good for a lot of different, any kind of pressure sensing where you want to have a tubing connected. What's nice is the tubing just pops on. So this is a really nice ported sensor, and it's very high precision. It's a really nice, easy to use sensor. Again, I2C, and you can use it with CircuitPython, Python, or Arduino. So pretty much anything you got from a Raspberry Pi to any Linux board to Arduino compatible would be able to use this very easy to use sensor.
Yeah, a couple of comments. People said, well, this could be used for a version of lip sync. I guess there's some type of tool called lip sync. Maybe post what that is.
Yeah, I got this specifically because I thought this would be great for
Assistive tech.
assistive tech, because this is like all the other pressure sensors, it's really hard to connect tubing to.
Approve you're not a robot interface. And then also someone said, thanks as always for adding mounting holes to all of the boards.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I think this would be really neat. We'll check this out, and if this is popular, we can add more different sensors. They have an SPI version, but this one is I2C.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different tools that I guess that are out there that people will be able to do stuff like this
Yeah.
with it. Okay.
So this is very cool. Yeah, they don't talk about it as for sip and puff. They talk about it for like liquid measurements and stuff, or pressure measurements. But I
But
think
you're
that's-
clever.
Well, I saw a need. I remember we've been talking about it. I'm like, we finally found something.
Yep. Okay, and with that, Lady Ada, it is new products.
That's a lot of new products.
Okay,
Okay,
speaking of,
epic.